Thank you for watching Highway 34 Connection. Today's podcast will begin shortly.
Highway 34 Connection is a podcast where a trio of friends who have become brothers sit down and discuss random topics, or even break down a bracket and even discuss American sports and news. Now sit back and relax as we give you our thoughts and honest opinions on the topics at hand. Once again, thanks for picking Highway 34 Connection.
The following podcast may use videos, pictures, news articles, and even audio from another channel. Highway 34 Connection doesn't own the rights to those. We will shout out who or where we get them for the podcasts. They own the copyrights, not us here at Highway 34 Connection. Please remember that all of our podcasts are unscripted, unfiltered, and unedited. Podcasts we do are pro wrestling talk, where we discuss the world of pro wrestling and give spoilers.
Talking football, where we talk about the current season of the NFL, XFL and USFL, where we give our thoughts on each week of gameplay. We also give our predictions on what teams will win each game.
Conspiracy theories, we sit down and talk about conspiracy theories and why we think something is real or just a theory.
Let's chat it up. This is a podcast where we just talk about random topics here on the channel. We could talk about anything, so please be warned, our podcasts are intended for mature audiences only.
Welcome to Highway 34 Connection.
Hey everybody, it's Keith, along with Insidious. Hello, Scribble and Kyber. Insidious, it's your podcast. Go ahead and do what you want to do.
Welcome to Conspiracy Theories. This is kind of an odd one. It just actually sparked it earlier on last week. Shortly after Super Bowl, actually. Taylor Swift and Joe Biden. Interesting. Well, here's one with the computer. Tell me what you found out, because I can't bounce back and forth.
Sorry, I was messaging the wife real quick. My blood sugar is kind of high. All right, I'm actually on CNBC TV 18 right now, and this is the article they have. One in about 5 Americans, roughly 20%, think that Taylor Swift is secretly trying to help President Joe Biden win the upcoming 2024 election, which could potentially see the latter lock horns with former rival Donald Trump, reveals a poll by Monmouth University. According to the survey by the New Jersey-based Varsity, close to half Americans, about 46%, claim to have heard something about Swift supposedly helping Biden win the 2024 presidential election in secret, while 18% believe it to be a conspiracy theory. A significant number of individuals who describe to conspiracy theory, approximately 71% of them, to tend to identify with the Republican Party. Additionally, nearly 3/4, 73%, who believe in the Swift conspiracy also think the 2020 election was fraudulent.
Thank you, Scribble. What was your thoughts on the end of that?
About 68% of Americans support the pop megastar's efforts to encourage their fans to vote, underlining the massive influence of Swift, what it can do for the electoral in the world's oldest democracy, which poll goes later this year. Oh dear God.
Yeah, kind of.
No, you might not know how this goes, but Scribble might know where I'm going with. I just read an article that someone is trying to say that Homelander. Are you eating? Because it's echoing like no other. that's really bad. That run the show The Boys, that Homelander looks like a younger Joe Biden.
Joe Biden is a wondering Joe Biden.
Yeah. Well, no, this article says, you want to talk about conspiracies, then talk about the show The Boys. I still think Homelander looks like a young Joe Biden.
So, I know where they're coming from with the Chiefs and Taylor Swift. That was like so forever ago, Scribble.
Told you.
Bite me. So, anywho, Taylor Swift is as liberal as they come. She endorsed Joe Biden his last term, last presidential run. So she'll probably do it this time around. But who is Travis Kelce? Mr. Pfizer? He did a commercial for the Pfizer vaccine. He is a complete liberal, 100 the way through, but he has yet to endorse Biden either. But he is pure liberal. So those two together equals Chief winning equals both of them come out and say we go Joe Biden, which could persuade Chief voters and Taylor Swift's voters to go to the polls and vote Taylor Swift using their popularity. And how much more bigger could it be than to have the Super Bowl champs, star tight end, say, hey, go vote.
Yeah, that's probably it's right around what I'm reading. Ahead of the Super Bowl, some Republicans circulated a baseline conspiracy. All of that Swift, along with her boyfriend, Kansas City Chiefs star Travis Kelce, were part of a scheme to rig the Super Bowl and use the moment, to endorse President Joe Biden in the 2024 contest. While the Chiefs did win the big game, neither Swift or Kelce made a political endorsement. The Swift conspiracy, that's for others to speak. I'm not going to speak to you from that, said Gene Peer.
Well, no, they're not going to bring it out right now. Why would they bring that out right now? That's the question. Because you would wait until it got closer to November before you'd come out and say something.
Yeah. It was also
you got to wait for that moment.
Taylor Swift would take a moment during the halftime show to sing and then put into a spot of her song saying, don't forget to vote for Biden. But it never took place.
I was so waiting on them to put a spot in for her, though.
I'm glad they didn't.
I don't know. I just really wanted to hear shake it off, shake it off.
Oh, I'm dreading the day that her and Kelce break up and she ends up making a song with I'm Gonna Burn Chiefs Kingdom to the Ground.
Right.
But you're the one that wanted to talk about this. I'm not finding much more about it.
No, that's really all it was. It's just a conspiracy. I mean, it's all it is. I mean, it's just, it does seem ironic, doesn't it? The Chiefs look like they were destined to lose that. And then, wow, magic. But records were still met on San Francisco's side, so I'm not going to complain. It is. It's a funny conspiracy. It's one of the funniest damn conspiracies I think that are out there. Besides the Bigfoot one, that one has me rolling every time I watch them videos. And 9/11, I refuse to get into. The 49ers kicked their shit out of them from the opening bell. See, that's how I knew they were going to win, was when they started throwing flags. That's how every Chiefs game is. If they throw flags, you know they're going to win. And especially if it's against the other team, constantly. Yeah, I won't touch the 9/11. No. If I do, that's on my own time and my own basic opinions with no facts given. But still, there was a lot of conspiracies for years after that happened, and I just don't go down that road. It's just not something I like to go down. I mean, if we're going to go down into the rabbit hole here, we might as well go deep into the rabbit hole. I might as well go full depth on Chris Benoit's theories that I had. I guess right now it don't matter. Maybe we'll give him something else to investigate Vince on.
Well, according to what I'm reading, since you want to bring up Vinnie Mac, it's being from what I'm reading, it looks like the whole scandal against him is a political move to stop him to back Trump.
Yeah, probably.
Because he's the main one backing up Donald Trump to run for president again. And it's getting so bad that John Laurinaitis is flipping on Vince, putting all the blame at Vince.
First off, Laurinaitis just committed that it happened, which screwed Vince. If he would have left it alone and said it was all hearsay bullshit, they could have ended it there. How do we know those text messages are real? We don't. Yeah, I know Stephanie was named also, but hers is from back allegations that she knew about it and never said anything. If you cried wolf about every little thing, we wouldn't have jobs at all. None of us would. But come on. If you wanted to go back and look at all of it together, oh man, I just lost my train of thought, Chief. Lord help me. We could use The Rock as an example. From Ashley's assault. Ashley isn't even here to defend that. Chief, help me out with this. About the Ashley Mazzaro and Vince. But the only thing is with Ashley is it's hard to prove. She's not here to answer the questions. Yeah, but how did that even come out of the spotlight? Like I said, she ain't even here to defend that. I still believe this is like, okay, but here's the thing that me and Chief talked about earlier, Scribble. Why now? Why now are they blowing it up? Why didn't they blow it up when it happened? Why are we waiting until decades later? Me personally, I feel that if you're waiting for decades to bring something out, obviously it wasn't that important or it didn't hurt you that bad. So if you're going to wait decades later, I think the judge should automatically throw it out. That's just how I look at that, because why wait? Yeah, it's going on now, but if it bothered her that bad, why didn't she say something then? It's because all the other allegations are coming out, and Now they're just trying to keep fuel going. It's kind of like Trump's situation. They just got to keep it going, keep it going. And as long as that keeps happening, I mean, if you look at it, you now have Michael Jackson, another case found on Michael. He ain't even here. How you going to trial that one?
Oh, that's why they're bringing her up. Apparently, the reason it was a friend of Ashley's that brought that to the surface because they're trying to blame Stephanie and the WWE covering up the sexual allegations onto why Ashley Mazzaro killed herself.
She wasn't even a wrestler at the time for WWE. That don't make sense at all. None. So, hold on. So every wrestler that killed themselves, I'll use tests for this. He was groped by Vince, so he hung himself. That makes no sense at all. We're gonna have to go down a rabbit hole here, and I'm probably gonna hate myself for this.
Okay, so if this goes any further, the military is going to be getting involved. The former Playboy playmate and wrestling competitor additionally alleged prior to her death that WWE had discouraged her from reporting that she had been sexually assaulted at a military base during WWE's tour of Kuwait in 2006. WWE issued a statement after Mazzaro's suicide, claiming that they were never made aware of the former wrestler's allegations.
I mean, I get why she was silenced because it would look bad on the military. And at the time, the military was looked at as heroes due for 9/11. So I get why she was silenced. But the fact that Vince didn't take it up himself is what I don't understand.
A family friend of Ashley's has now came forward in 2024 stating that McMahon's daughter, Stephanie, made her feel comfortable heading into a boardroom meeting before turning on her and attempted to cover up the star's complaints, revealing that she claims that Mazzaro told her that Carappa added she spoke with Vince McMahon many times. Vince said his daughter Stephanie take his place because she was a female woman, and to make Ashley comfortable, and they just played with her. They played with her because of everything that Stephanie had made her feel comfortable and safe, and as soon as they walked into the boardroom meeting, Ashley was on her own completely.
Yeah, that's kind of how that works. I mean, it's the same way with us and our union reps. Yeah.
Okay, so the person's name that the family friend is Kara Tipia.
Someone that doesn't even know the business. Again, hearsay. This goes back to my recent thing. It's hearsay. We are going with straight up hearsay. So Stephanie can deny it. Vince can deny it. Say, yes, it happened. They can say, yes, we talked to this person. We can get this person on the phone who will then avouch that it was taken care of, and so on and so forth. Nothing goes anywhere. So, yeah, I don't see why we're dealing with hearsay and why it's such a big deal, because it is what it is. It's hearsay. There's no given fact to it whatsoever.
So it looks like the reason why Laurinaitis was brought up was because of Ashley.
Well, here's the thing.
And he's saying that WWE head honchos, including Vince and Stephanie, knew about the accident.
But if they have proof that they did something about it, that could be different. In a way, I don't know where they're wanting to go with this.
According to this, they're wanting Stephanie, Vince, Laurinaitis, and several others permanently banned from WWE, and apparently to pay back money that was used for her funeral.
Pay back money that was used for her funeral.
Yeah, stating that if they would have did something, she wanted to kill herself, and the family would have been left with the funeral costs.
Mm. Hmm. Wow. I don't want to sound heartless, but I don't think there's a way I can on this. But why didn't she get help?
Well, according to this, she tried, but the help she wanted was from Stephanie, and it backfired.
What help was she trying to get from Stephanie? She's a McMahon. She knew this. Everybody knows this. You don't trust a McMahon. Duh. But why didn't she get help in general, like physical, mental health? If it was that fucking bad.
It's a good question, and I don't have the answer for it.
But again, I mean, these are stuff lawyers are going to look at too. Well, if she was that bad, why didn't she get help? I mean, you look at this from a lawyer standpoint, and let's face it, Triple H and them have a lot of money. And it's going to come down to the same questions. Well, the company might have put a gag order on, but it doesn't mean that she can't talk to her therapist about it.
Hey, hold on a second. I'm going to play this video. Let me know if you can hear it.
No, can't hear it.
Yeah, I haven't turned it up yet.
As I read the account, it seemed as though she was sort of semi-conscious and paralyzed, meaning she knew what was happening but couldn't scream, couldn't move.
Absolutely.
Which is often a state of anesthesiology.
Right, that's right. I have my opinions on that as well. So when Ashley first started working for the WWE, she told me in the locker rooms, it was like they handed out Soma like it was candy. Soma. It's a muscle relaxer. So it was what they would give the wrestlers when they were injured because there was no not wrestling. You had a broken arm, you take a Soma, you wrestle. So at that point, she had become addicted to Soma. So she was already in this state. And so whatever they administered to her rendered her helpless. Her body was useless to her, but her mind was there. She saw what was happening.
And she said to you she was raped and sodomized in this room multiple times. Ultimately, it's just hard to believe that she says that a WWE executive carried her out of that room and to her hotel room.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. He wrapped a blanket around her. He wrapped a blanket around her and carried her out because she still, when he came and got her, she was still limp. She still wasn't able to move her body
on her own.
Right.
It sort of defies belief, but she said to you, and correct me if I'm wrong, she said to you that they left her, not only left her in that hotel room, they left her in Kuwait alone. Yeah. How did she get back?
She was, they got her a flight days after everyone else was already home. She was left alone because they had to go back to work. Vince wanted them back in the USA because they had work to do.
It's unbelievable.
Pause this real quick.
She said to you that she told the WWE.
Absolutely.
I'm going to poke holes into her little theory real quick. I'm going to say she's full of shit, and I'm going to tell you why. She goes in, a WWE executive carried her to the hotel, wrapped in a blanket. But then she was left alone, completely alone. They got her a flight. Then you just said the executive took her to a hotel. What the fuck? So obviously she wasn't alone. She had an executive. And then switched it to where she was completely alone. They got her a flight, but she was completely alone.
Unless she's trying to say the executive took her back and then left.
Hey, how she made it sound. All right, go ahead and continue.
Specifically, who did she tell? Well, the gentleman who wraps her in the blankets, he was an executive for the company. So,
Mm-hmm.
At the scene, you have an executive. As soon as she got back to the States, she had the phone calls while she was in Kuwait. It was out from the beginning, right after it happened. As soon as she was able to talk on the phone and did it go right to the top? She spoke with Vince McMahon. She spoke with Vince McMahon many times. Vince had his daughter Stephanie McMahon take his place because she was a female, a woman, and to make Ashley comfortable, and they just played with her. They played with her because everything that Stephanie had made her feel comfortable and safe about. As soon as they walked into this boardroom meeting, Ashley was on her own completely, and she was threatened, and there was no compassion, there was no sympathy, there was nothing. So Ashley Massaro, your best friend, told you that she went into a boardroom. Yeah, absolutely. With the WWE, where Stephanie McMahon, Vince McMahon, that's right, other executives were seated. The entire yes. And that's where she was told this has to stay under wraps. That is right. And she had, right before she walked into that boardroom, she talked to the locker room doctor, who was aware of everything, and he was actually very sympathetic to her, but he had no pull. So he gave her the advice that he could, and but that was it. You heard me reading the statement from the WWE earlier, which is effectively, at no time did we hear anything about these allegations about a doctor, a nurse, an assault in Kuwait. We knew nothing about this. And then after the Janelle Grant lawsuit, one of the men who's named as an abuser of Janelle Grant is John Laurinaitis, another executive at WWE. Right. And his lawyer is acknowledging that John Laurinaitis did know. When you heard that, it's been years since Ashley took her life. When you heard John Laurinaitis' lawyer acknowledge that Ashley had told them that the WWE was not telling the truth, what was your reaction? It's about time somebody has a conscience, because there was never a single moment of time that I didn't believe a word that Ashley told me. So if you had an opportunity to say something to Vince McMahon, what would it be? Well, that's the question I hadn't thought about. Shame on you. Like, how do you look at yourself? How do you look at the mirror? Obviously he's got problems. He's a sexual deviant. He needs help. He's not well. So the problem is that people with that kind of sickness and mindset and power why do they thrive for so long? Why doesn't anybody stand up? Why are there so many people in that company aware of what's going on to hold these women who keep committing suicide year after year after year, and nobody stands up and says anything? No one tries to protect these young women. Why? Because it's not just Vince, it's the whole freaking company. Do you think that what happened to Ashley, as she recounted to you, do you think that contributed to her suicide? 99%. Absolutely. Kara, Pia, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
So, Insidious, what do you have to say about that? Did you mute yourself?
I don't know what to say about it, to be honest. I don't know.
The thing that has me is she kept stuttering so much.
Yeah, it's like, and she was rambling so fast, like she was on a freaking time limit. I don't know what to think about that. But I was just watching an interview with her from 5 years ago where she was talking about that she doesn't wrestle anymore, and she does indie shows, refs, and does ballet. But I'll tell you what, she looked high as a damn kite in that video, though.
What, the one we just listened to?
No, the one I was just watching with Ashley Mazzaro interview with Hannibal.
Yeah.
Yeah, she looks high as fuck. I mean, like high. All right, I'll be right back. Give me a sec.
It is 100%. The lawyer admits that John knew, which means that tells me that WWE knew about it the entire time, and they just need to admit to it.
See, me and you had to talk about this stuff a little earlier today. The thing is, what gets me is it's the stuff they go through as wrestlers.
You know your camera's still off, right?
Yeah, because I just sat back down. Give me a minute.
Okay.
So the thing is, it's the stuff they go through as wrestlers. I mean, we talked about in the Chris and Nancy earlier how they had to go on dates and stuff like that. So getting comfortable in these roles that they get into. Like I said, I was going to compare this to The Rock when he looked at Lillian and said, "You thinking about The Rock strudel?" I mean, there's sexual harassment throughout that whole industry. So would it be surprising shit was going on? No, not surprising at all. Because I mean, you look at the on-screen stuff, sex sold back then. I mean, look at the way they dressed back then compared to now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So sex appeal was a thing. It was a thing to sell. I don't know what to think about this interview at all.
I thought you McMahon family was done.
So, give me a minute. I'm going to do something here. Let me clear off my desk so I can get to my laptop. Because it's kind of hard for me to look anything up right now. So, without my internet. I mean, without my laptop being open. Because God knows 5G sucks. Waru. Podcast Row. Why are you burning cupcakes? Well, don't make me fire up that conspiracy on why you're putting cupcakes in a microwave. And then they start burning. Now you got the whole house smelling like burnt cupcake.
Exactly.
Well, there's some that's still about their face. I mean, we could go back to. Never mind, I can't go to her. Who's the one I'm thinking of as of late? Right, I get it. I was thinking the same thing. Isaac, what are you doing? Yes, Dad is down here. What do you want?
But I don't have anything else about this. I'm just confused.
Oh, that's why I'm trying to get my internet, my Google up. And I'm still waiting for you to load in. Isaac, come here. What do you want? Come here. What do you want? Come here, buddy. Want to say hi and stream?
Bye, Isaac.
You say hi, Scribble. Say hi, Chief. Did you hear him? He said,
Yeah.
Hi, Chief. She says, hi, kiddo. Hi. Rosalie sleeping?
Awake.
Mom awake? Shay awake? So what are you doing? Yeah.
Any luck getting that up?
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. And once you go upstairs, but that'll be up in a little bit. Oh, okay. This should be interesting.
What?
He's never behaving. I'm going into wrestling headlines. They just pop something up that I'm intrigued on. It's just going to be a minute here. It's going to light up a smoke. It's been great. I've been watching a new show that I'm falling in love with. Two of them, actually. I started watching Yellowstone and Reacher. Reacher's fucking awesome. So is Yellowstone.
Do I need to end this and start a pro wrestling talk one, or is this still about the topic at hand?
It's still a conspiracy theory. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Because we're still giving our thoughts, and if what we think is bullshit, still conspiracy podcast, no matter how we look at it. Yeah, well, somebody failed to enlighten Insidious about the nudity that's in there. My boy started watching it. I was like, oh shit, cover your eyes, boy, cover your eyes. It was a TV show. Who would have thought? I never would have thought. It's still loading up, so. No, there's a talk of former wrestler that just opened up too. Well, who reads descriptions? I just seen TV show seasons and thought, oh, it's a TV show. They're gonna be that bad in here. Ah, boy, was I fucking wrong.
Oh, speaking about TV shows, NCIS's new season started last week.
Yeah, I'm done watching it. Like I gave up on the other one. You know, I was big into Chicago Fire. I was big into Chicago Fire until what happened with that when they restarted their season. I was done. So
either tomorrow or next week, they're doing a dedication to Ducky. I'm gonna miss Ducky. Yeah, I kind of figured.
So this is what's been told so far. Talent within WWE has reportedly not been briefed or told that they cannot speak about it, the nature of the lawsuit against the company. In media appearances, several have been asked about it during recent interviews. As seen in recent weeks so far, no other companies are actively participating in the investigation. However, talent from several other U.S. based companies have been given the green light to speak about issues or participate in the investigation if they feel so inclined. So, this right here just got me fucked, mind fucked. And I'm going to tell you why. So, now where we can have other companies talk about it. So now we can have other companies talk about it and get involved in it. Why would you need third party if this is all against Vince?
Because wrestlers that are no longer
if that's the case,
Insidious.
But
It's because
if that's the case, though, then why would that one wrestler here, whoever he or she may be, talk about it with WWE officials? Why are we saying other companies have the green light to get into the investigation?
Because they're letting former WWE stars that work for other promotions talk to the authorities, not WWE management.
That's not what it says here. It says U.S.-based companies have been given the green light to speak about issues or participate in the investigation if they feel so inclined to do so. That's pretty much saying even Walmart could stand up and say something if they chose to. That makes no sense to me at all. None. But it says here, one former talent has indicated to Fight Select that they were weighing the option of whether or not to tell their story through the media or even possibly take legal action against WWE. It says we will keep you posted, and it doesn't mention names. Of course not. Then they wonder why they get the name fake news. Yeah, I get that, but they're not saying just wrestling companies, though. They said any U.S.-based companies, which could be anybody could get involved in this investigation, not just wrestling companies. Anybody can get in it. Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, I see that. That's what you were saying, Chief, and that's what I was saying. But they're not talking about other wrestling companies, though. They're saying any company, any that they choose to. I don't know. Most generally, I don't think it's morally ported. It's just how they feel. So, hold on a minute. So I'm going to read here. So I'm going to see if Stephanie McManus said anything.
Probably not. There's probably a gag order on the McMahon family.
All right, bring over my hefty keyboard here. Oh, this is what we call going down a rabbit hole. Hmm. Oh, da, 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 da. Well, go to Daily Mail. They're more accurate most of the time. Well, they made that short and brief, didn't they? Holy shit. So, this is what they're saying now with Stephanie, but wow. It's going to be hard to prove, in my opinion. So we have the friend we discussed that, but it says here, Cesaro committed suicide 5 years ago, months after the dismissal of her lawsuit, claiming wrestling head injuries made her depressed and addicted to painkillers. I don't know how that's going to go. So here's what I don't understand. You know what? I'm gonna look at something else real quick. Because this sounds a little familiar to me. Oh yeah, we just found the rabbit hole. This is not going to go anywhere.
Spill it, man. Spill it.
This is Ashley's own words right here. I want you guys to hear this. During my time in WWE, I had observed Vince McMahon making out with other divas in the locker room. but he never paid attention to me, and I assumed I was not his type. This changed after my Playboy cover was released. I was fortunate enough to be allowed to fly on the company jet, stay at the same hotels as the executives for a period of time so that I could get home faster to spend more time with my daughter. On one of these occasions, Vince was attempting to get me alone with him in his hotel room late at night, and I felt extraordinarily uncomfortable. He began calling me the hotel room phone and my cell phone nonstop. I called then WWE executive producer Kevin Dunn, who explained the situation, and he said I should tell Vince I was not feeling well and I would see him on TV the next day, so I did. Mazzaro went on to allege that after she rejected McMahon's advances, he purposely sought to torpedo her WWE career, saying immediately after that night, Vince started writing my promos for me. Vince does not write promos for female wrestlers. That is the job of the creative department, and he certainly wouldn't have under any normal circumstances. Writing a promo for me, but he did, and the promos were written with a clear intention of ruining my career. I brought the first script that Vince wrote for me to WWE employee in charge of creative at the time, Michael Hayes, and he said, "You're not saying this. Who the explicit wrote this?" And I told him that Vince did. He said, "Well, kid, these are the breaks," meaning that Vince wanted to end my career and destroy my reputation on my way out. He is known for this type of behavior and also did the same to they blocked that part out upon her departure from WWE. In addition, after that night, each time I walked by him, he would make vulgar sexual comments that were clearly designed to make me uncomfortable. This was dismissed in 2018. Hi. I'll figure it out as soon as I get done. All right. So, yeah, that, and nothing happened. It got dropped. So, what's next? Shane next?
Probably.
Damn, this is nuts, man. So, my thing is, now they're saying that's possibly why Shane fell out with Vince to begin with.
could, but I doubt it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I do see a way for them. I almost bet Triple H goes on leave for a while because with him being with Stephanie, that's a conflict of interest between him and the company. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But with him doing a good job, I don't see him going anywhere.
I don't know. He's already left, but I'm not. That whole Ashley Mazzara thing, it still ain't got me sold. I mean, she's already claimed that sexual assault happened with Vince, and they didn't do anything about that. I don't see this going anywhere either as far as that. Well, that's why I said if Shane gets somehow involved in this some way, shape, or form, you're going to hear the biggest conspiracy on conspiracies happen on my channel. Because I will 100% compare this to what's going on right now with another celebrity ex-president. How they're going after his whole family, and now they're going after this one.
Well, and those two families are really, really close.
And they're really, really rich, too. That's what's fun. That's what's weird about it all. If somehow something they find on Shane gets brought to light, he'll be another one. I guarantee it. And that's funny because we already seen this with Laura Trump, who's married to Eric Trump. She was subpoenaed to subpoenaed. They went after Trump's whole family. Even his daughter-in-law, which is Laura Trump, who is a news reporter for Newsmax, she was called for subpoena. They went after Eric. They went after Trump Jr. They even went after his youngest son, who isn't even old enough to be on the stand. Byron. It's like, what the fuck? So if this goes down to that, I will tie this all together. I guarantee it. It is how it works, but what's the reasoning behind it, though? We know what the reason is for Trump. They want to keep him out of office. But what would be the reason for Vince, though? That's what I don't understand. Like, what's the reason for Vince? They wouldn't have one. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, Scribble. We know why they want Trump out of there, but I don't understand what Vince has to do with anything. What? I have an idea. Maybe there's something I'm missing. No, I haven't been living under a rock. I want to know what's the reason to go after Vince and the family. We know what Trump's is, it's president, but why would they need to focus on Vince? Is what I'm saying. Most generally, it's always politics. It always has been. Yeah, but I'm not talking about now. I want to know why. Like, what happened that they're forcing all this out now? Most generally, there's always something that they do that is either going to end somebody that Vince knows, or there's always something. You know what I mean? Like, for example, if Trump gets back in, Democrats are scared he's going to probably end up getting rid of a lot of them. So, how do you fix that? You keep him out of office. Why are they scared of Vince? Wow. And there it is. Hey, Chief, you ready to hit this one? Listen to this. While Vince McMahon has officially stepped out of the ring, his name won't be easy to excuse from the world of wrestling he built for decades. He taught Trump how to control a crowd. Oh, that's funny shit. That is funny shit. Huh. Remember how I said two went together?
Yeah.
How pro wrestling explains today's GOPs. And it ties Vince to Donald Trump. Well, that's interesting. I told you we were going to go down a rabbit hole. Well, we found one. It says you can't fully understand Donald Trump and the current state of American politics without also understanding Vince McMahon and the history of professional wrestling.
Yeah, I think so, Scribble.
It's not living under a rock. For me, hear me out. I'm a guy with a very open mind. Now, we've all been to high school. We've all been in school. We've all heard these words. If you see something, say something. If you see somebody else doing something, say something. There's a whole bunch of people seeing something and a whole lot of people saying nothing until years later, which makes me to say it obviously wasn't that big of a deal at the time if nobody was talking about it. So if nobody talked about it, in my opinion, that means there wasn't anything to talk about. Which means both people were perfectly satisfied with what was going on. Until there was a time where it became not so okay. And women can hold that card very, very, very well. Oh, it was okay now, but I can change it. It was rape. Chief, tell me if I'm wrong. We both have been down this road. It was consent until it was no longer time to consent. The only thing that saved me and you was the fact that we had witnesses.
Yep.
Well, if that's the case, then saying something to a police officer or even to a school counselor would get you nowhere. But where were the cops that was supposed to be called? You know, there is a such thing as it's against the law to force somebody upon somebody's will. So, in my experience, you think you would want to tell somebody. For an example, girl I dated in high school told me that she was fondled with on the bus. I'm like, did you tell anybody? No. And I'm like, well, are you going to? And I'm like, she's like, well, no. And I'm like, well, did you like it? And she's like, what? And I'm like, well, it's either you did and it was consensual and that's why you don't want to say anything, or what? And she goes, well, I'm scared. I go, scared of what? So I went and got a hold of Officer Anderson myself, and I made her go talk to him and the other person because neither one of them had the courage to say something. So I get it. There is times that people get scared and don't want to talk about it, but sometimes that extra push helps. I mean, there's sexual harassment that appears in the workplace I'm at all the time. It's nonstop. Like, you'll hear a guy tell another girl, I do your work, I do my work, and then after work, me, you fuck.
Yep.
And instead of firing the person, they just move the girl somewhere else. So he does it to the next one. Yeah, that becomes a little different, but again, that's why we have police officers. If the police officers don't do anything, we go above them. Most generally, we have an FBI. Well, unfortunately, I've had to call a couple times. Most generally, on the police for not doing their job. I get where you're coming from, Scribble. I do. And I'm sorry that happened. I am.
Oh shit! I'm sorry about that, hon.
But when you deal with, I'm trying to not be rude here, and it's very hard because the wording doesn't fit with what I want to say, and it's not degrading. I try not to be. I try to be civil and reasonable. Entitled. When you work entitled. Yeah, but most women there are models, and a lot of them are. And I think if you've ever watched the movie Fighting with My Family with Soraya, a lot of them weren't even wrestlers. They're models or used to be models that are just turned into wrestlers. And there's a lot of entitled, but with entitlement also becomes a lot of guys look at you. A lot of guys look at them in a lot of ways, including top brass or stuff like that. Oh, I get it. I'm not going to say you're not wrong. And I'm not trying to stick up for Vince in any way, shape, or form. Trust me, he's an asshole. But I'm just trying to look at it from all angles. And that's what us conspiracy people do. We look at this from all angles. And if you look at it from just one point of view, then what's the point of a conspiracy theory? Is there holes in what that lady's saying? Yes, there is holes there. The stuttering, the fact that she may not actually believe what she's saying. Everything makes more sense in light of lawyers, especially with a person's dad being a lawyer, becomes a lot more problems. Oh yeah, there's probably truth in there somewhere.
All right, I'm back. The wife just got home.
I mean, for me, it's more of why now? Like, okay. Remember when I said entitlement? People want to feel entitled. Here's the point of entitled. You have the media at your fingertips. You have phones. You're literally live on TV. Would it hurt your career if you went out on live TV and said, hey, I'm sick of being molested and shit's going on? Oh, yeah, it's going to ruin your career. But guess what? How many law enforcement watch WWE? Somebody's going to take notice. If you don't feel comfortable going to a police, there's so many ways you can do it. Oh, I'm not going to say you're not wrong, Scribble. 100%. I'm not going to say you're not wrong. I'm not trying to stick up for Vince, trust me, but like I say, as we do, people are going to start saying shit. Exactly. But as a conspiracy theorist, you got to look at all angles of things. And that's why we're called conspiracy theorists, is because we look at things from different angles. How true could it be? Is there any truth behind it? Is there any logic to what that person's saying? But when now you have Stephanie's involvement, when before Stephanie wasn't involved in any of them, and then all of a sudden her dad's nailed with this dress trafficking. Where was it when the first allegation was put up in 2021? I mean, this should have been brought out to the light then. Why did we wait until 2 years after, when after this big merger is done, the big sale is done, and then we want to say something? Oh, because exactly, more money, exactly. So, but what are they looking for Stephanie to get away with? She already stepped away from the WWE. when her dad came back. So if they're thinking that to keep her away, she already did that. She already stepped away. So what's the point of this lady? Does she not watch WWE programming to know Stephanie has been away from it for like a long freaking time now? A good 2 years? Do I see other wrestling promotions getting involved in this? Probably not. They're probably going to want to stay away from it. Because bad news is, I understand, from an old perspective, bad news, it's still publicity. But when you start getting this kind of stuff tied to your name in newspapers, it's best to stay away from it. And that's exactly what I look for TNA and AEW to do, is stay the hell away from it. But as for anything else, I don't have nothing else to really say about it. And I agree, just for those 5 minutes of fame. And if this did happen to Ashley, I feel sorry for her. I really do. And I understand she did try to say something, but you have a board of directors, and I understand that's where they went, and she was pretty much made to look a fool. But that's how stuff goes in that situation. And it's no different than at work. You have a union rep, and that union rep's supposed to have your back, and they talk about what the game plan is when you go in there. And then when you go in there, everyone's turned against you. And that's how tempers rise, and that's how people get fired. Because they lose that cool, they lose their momentum, and they feel like the whole world's against them, and they lash out. And I hate to say it, but it happens like that more than what people think. And I'm pretty sure even in the workplace with Vince McMahon, it's not exactly easy either. Sex trafficking is no fun either, but I'm also hoping with this coming out, other companies might start saying something, or other women start saying something about other companies that they don't have to be quiet about. Whether it's AEW, TNA, UFC, and whether it's even a Walmart executive. Heck, I wouldn't be surprised if it ain't JBS in there somewhere. Because they got enough bad news on their table as is. Oh yeah, for sure. Men too. I mean, it isn't just women. I mean, hell, even men should be able to come out right now. But you know what's funny? Is this showing how crazy 2024 has started, man? It's freaking nuts. For sure, it isn't just women that can be sexually assaulted. Oh, agreed. Totally. We have Cat Williams turning over stones also, calling out all of mainstream. This has been a weird 2024 already, and let's just say I'm here for the ride. As long as it keeps giving me content, let's go. But one thing I do try to do, though, is look at all angles of aspects. And for those people that are just joining in, we started off with talking about the NFL conspiracy with Taylor Swift, and then we jumped over here to Vince. If you get a chance, go back and watch the full podcast of this, and you'll get the understanding of where we're coming from, where everything started getting to where we're at now. Anyone who has been put into a situation in the big companies find their voice and start speaking up. I agree. Right. I hope everybody has that ability to start speaking up. And again, it's sad that it happens the way it does. And it is sad that it has to come out like this, even with Vince or anybody else. It's always a sad deal when somebody has to come up with it. And I agree, no one's ever alone. You know, I don't tell this story very much because it's not one that I like to talk about. But when I worked for another company that had a W in it and ended with a T, there was a girl there. I'd say she was 17 years old. One of the guys that was there made a statement towards her. If I was a little younger, I would try you out. And she felt uncomfortable. She came up to me, and I was glad that she did. And she goes, well, what do I need to do? I go, we need to go talk to a supervisor, like right now. That's what we need to do. And she's like, are you sure? I don't want to get in trouble. I go, oh, you're not, but he will be, because that's inappropriate and something needs to be said. So I walked up to supervisor with her to go talk to the supervisor, and they got the guy fired. And not even 2 weeks after that, he came in, threw a big old temper tantrum, and got in her face and actually tried to hit her. And they tackled him and walked him out and told him he was banned from the store. And I still feel that I did the right thing. But just remember, you're never alone. There's always people out here that will listen. That was the point of me telling that story. And I made sure something got done about it. Well, you're welcome, Scribble.
Oh, damn.
I get it.
We get it.
Trust me, Chief knows some stuff that's happened with me, and it happened. Yeah. And we ain't ever going to talk about that again. It ends right there.
Hey, question.
No.
Which one?
You know exactly which one that happened to me, and it was in your living room when I was asleep with Dakota in my arms. Yeah. Needless to say, if it would have been just 3 years prior to that, I would have killed him. That would have been all I'd have to say on that. Yeah.
So anything else on the conspiracy side of things?
Nope, I'm good. Because we're not going down the rabbit hole of that night either, so we're good.
Oh, I don't plan on it.
I don't either.
Oh, damn.
Damn. But yeah, we can go in this. I think I got to go figure out dinner.
Say we can do pro wrestling next week. I ain't worried about it.
Yeah, maybe we'll have more. Or do we want to wait until after Chamber where we have more to talk about?
That's what I'm saying, after Chamber next week.
That's next Saturday, right?
Yep, and I'm on call from 9:30 till 7 p.m. next Saturday. Hopefully they don't call me so I can watch it.
All right, sounds like a plan. Oh, you want to be a part of the Elimination Chamber?
I do want to say one thing about wrestling.
Go.
2 WWE superstars have openly admitted that they would step into the UFC octagon if asked.
Talk about Jeff Hardy getting knocked out in the middle of the ring in AEW. You sure you want to talk about that?
Or his drug addiction.
Yeah, that too. I just watched that clip the other day where AJ snapped on him over that. Dude, that was bad. AJ lit him up over that whole drug addiction thing. Lit him straight up. It'll be the men's and women's elimination chamber.
So do you want to know
she'll go into the elimination chamber. Huh?
There are two superstars, a husband and a wife, that said they will go into UFC and compete if the money was right.
Oh, who is that?
Montez Ford and Bianca Belair. No offense to Bianca, but I think Montez would last longer.
No, I don't think either one of them would last that long.
I'm right there
I
with
bet
you. When
you would. Or Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, she's rumored to be coming back soon.
Who knows? Maybe it'll be at the chamber.
But all right.
Hi, Bailey.
I'm not even going to say nothing.
We know Chief loves Bailey.
I am Insidious. Thanks for watching this podcast.
This is The Ghost, and thank you for watching our podcast.
And I am the Chief. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great night.
Oh, I bet you do, Scribble.